Google Classroom. I'm going to share my screen. Screen the right screen. Share and to everyone. So you should be able to see my screen now. This is that link that I was telling you about. So if you go to this Hangout, that plus.google page, there's a link right there. If you want to click on that, it will allow you to send me chats, things like that, and I can answer your questions if you have them as we go. I'll try to keep that up. I have 2 monitors open and should be good to watch. All right, so Google Classroom. I'm going to start with when you log in. Go ahead and explain to you that Google Classroom is a learning management system. People ask me a lot of times if it's groups or if it's just Google Drive, but it is kind of like Edmodo and kind of a dumbed down version of Canvas, those type things that you probably used in the past. Schoology is similar to that. The best part is that it connects with our Google Drive, which to me is fantastic. I just went to the web page that is google.classroom.com. If you notice, it also sometimes it shows up here, sometimes it doesn't. Mine doesn't show up today. It does not show up there, so I was going to say there. If you look in your Google Apps, more than likely Google Classroom sees there. Let me have that little thing right there. So it is Google Classroom is right there. So you can always look there, but like I said, it's just classroom.google.com. If it is your first time to use Google Classroom, when you go to that website, it's going to look like this. It has this teacher with two students, and then you're going to tell it you're a teacher. If you tell it that you're a student, you need to email me immediately, because it puts you in a little special teacher student group, and you cannot make classes, which is not cool. So go ahead and tell it you're a teacher that first time, and then you can log in. Once you log in, it'll look like this page. I kind of have like these screenshots that people had done, and I just stole their screenshots. And this one's from Alice Keeler. She's got fantastic stuff. If you that alicekeeler.com, go there. Fantastic stuff on Google Docs, Google Apps, everything Google. And then you'll click Join Your First Class or Create Your First Class, and it'll allow you to do that. So that would be your first time to sign out. Once you're in, it's going to take you to a page that looks kind of like this. You might just have one if it's your first class. I'm going to use this webinar class, and this is what your class will look like. I have stuff in my stream because my class has been here in the past. I'm using one that I've used before. That way I have students, and that is a huge help to have students already in. Once you're in, to get your students to join, there's a few ways you can do it, but the easiest way to get your students to join is right here. There's a thing that says class code, and you can change it if you need to. You can disable it if you need to, if you have issues with kids joining. But that class code right there, just kind of like Edmodo and Schoology and all those things, you can go in and join. So the kids would just go to classroom.google.com, and that little plus sign that I just closed out, they'll click on that and put in your class code, and they should be able to join your code. Join your class. So that should just kind of setting everything up. Let's see, I'm going to mute. Not that I don't love y'all, but I'm going to go ahead and mute you guys. Nope, that's not what I want. Turn that back off. Where can I mute it? I don't know. Can you unmute yourself? I thought I knew how. Oh, here we go. It's just on your faces. Mute. Okay. Alright, so we're back in here. This is your stream. It's kind of like most things we have today, social media stuff, where you have a stream. Newest will always be on top. Students will always see the newest on top. On this page, you can show your deleted items. If something's deleted, you can't bring it back. So know that. I get that question a lot. What happens if they're deleted? Those type things. If it's deleted, it's really, really hard to get it back. As in, you can't. You have to repost all of it. Now, the student work that's inside Google Docs will stay. Or in Google Drive, it'll stay. One thing, as I go through this, if y'all start getting confused, send me a message. That's fine. Hopefully, I will kind of get back around. Teaching Google Classroom is not linear. It's kind of like Google Classroom is kind of the sun, and everything else just kind of floats around it like a solar system. So if I start getting way out to left field, just let me know. So let's see. Let's go back to here. There's our stream. This is where your assignments are going to show up. If you click on this tab, it'll show my students. I have 2 students in my class. I have Dylan and I have Zach. I can invite other students. So if I wanted to invite a student, I could click on there and I can say contacts, my contacts. I can say all contacts. And I could look for, let's see, my daughter's name. Maybe I shouldn't do my daughter. But anyway, you can do that and look for a kid's name, and it'll be in there. Other things you can do is you can click on a student and remove them. So if a student withdraws from your class and you just want to take them out, you can remove them. You can email just one student. You can email all the students. If I click that and click email, it's going to open up an email tab. Slowly. Slowly. Can y'all hear them yelling outside my office? That's cracking me up. Okay, so you see how I've got my student 1 and student 2 has their email in there. It's blind, it's BCC, blind carbon copies, so they can't see each other. And I can write the subject and send them the email. And then it sends out to all of them. And I also have a copy of all my student emails, which is always a plus as well. I'm going to go ahead and close that. So that's where your students are. If I click on a student, I can see their information. Can I? No, not from here. Let's say I have a student who is causing trouble. I can say this student can only comment. I can say this student can only, I could say, I could turn off this student can only, teacher can only post and comment. Shoot, I thought I could turn off one. Yeah, so I can say this student can only comment. Will it not let me turn off all of them? It used to. Oh, mute. That's what it was. Sorry. Alright, so I can do that and I can mute him. So now Dylan McKay can't talk because he's at alternative school and I don't want him sending messages all day long while we're sitting here trying to have class. I used to have to do that with Edmodo because I had a kid that would do that. So you can click that off. There's our class code again. I always put it where students can only comment. If you have high schoolers, I wouldn't mind if they could mute, if they could do all posting. I wouldn't do that with middle school just because they'll be like, hey, what's up? I'm bored. Who's here? That kind of stuff, and it will just drive you crazy. So I would just kind of put it where students can only comment. So you can do a post and they can still comment. Over here in the About section, they have sorry, they're like screaming. They have the Google Drive folder, and I'll show you what that means in just a second. They have View in Classroom, the calendar, so I can view my calendar in Classroom. So here's my classroom calendar, and they can also, sorry, like a party outside of my office. You could also view, if I close this, I can also view in Google Calendar. Everything I post in here will show up in Google Calendar. And we'll look at that when we look at a post. But that's fantastic because Google Calendar will also sync like with the kids' phones, with the kids' with the kids' tablets, with if they're signed into a computer. Over and over, I hear teachers push like the kids need to bring their agendas. The kids need to bring their agendas. Oh, we're not going to give them credit for forgetting their agendas. And it's always the poor kids who need them the most, or the ones who can't remember to bring them. So with this, it would automatically put it to their phone calendar, and they would automatically get alerts. And that to me is worth all of it. So there's the calendar. You can invite teachers. So if I had a teacher that was, why do I not have any contacts all of a sudden? But I could go in and I can look, and if I had a teacher that was my inclusion teacher, I can click invite teacher. I can put that teacher in, and they can be part of my class. That way they can see stuff where it says add materials. I can go in, I can add my syllabus, I can add anything else I need to add in here, and it'll allow me to attach a document if I had a PDF, and it'll allow me to attach Google Drive item, a link if I need to attach a link, a video, which is YouTube, so that is what it is. We all know how that goes, because it's sometimes blocked. but we can edit things. We can edit the name of our class here. So that would be kind of all the pieces to this. If you want to get out of here and go back to your other classes, you click here, and there's all my classes that I have. There's my calendar in there as well. So just kind of give you a roundabout way, I guess it's a tour of the website. Now, what can this do? So let's look at the different things you can do in Google Classroom. One thing I can do is I can reuse a post. So if I like this post and it was said Test Friday or something and I want to do it again, I can reuse it. And that's always a plus. I'm going to skip down to right here where I can create an announcement. So if I create an announcement, I can just say Test Friday or projects due Friday. I can put my, if I was doing, let's do project. If I did project due Friday, I can go in here, I can click maybe attach something I have that, someone says works cited, it's not really, but I can just say that's it. I can attach my instructions for this project, and then I can click post, and it will post this in here. And that's just kind of a reminder, and it's not an assignment. The difference between an announcement and an assignment is graded or not graded, and sometimes that causes confusion. Sometimes that gets kids asking, when is this, why haven't you graded this yet? Why have you not given me a grade? And all that stuff. So sometimes just an announcement does justice. If I wanted to put on here, don't forget about the pep rally, don't forget your money, those kind of things, I can put it in there. So that's an announcement. You can also do create a question. So if I did a question in here and I put, let's see, who won the college football national champion? Sorry for those who are not Alabamans. Maybe I can't spell. Championship this year. And so I can have a question. I can have students reply to each other. I can have students can edit their answer. And I can have a due date. So let's say I want it to be due tomorrow. Why not? Let's say I want it, my class is over at 12, and so I can say I want it's due by tomorrow at 12 and the class is over. If I want to attach something to it, I can. And then I can click ask the question, and it puts it out there. I see that no one's done it yet, but I logged in as 2 of my students, and so this student over here is going to go in there and he's going to type in his answer. Submit, and then he can see his classmates' answers after he submitted his. He can't see the classmates until he has. We see that Dylan hasn't done anything yet, so I'm going to come over here to Dylan, and I see that, and he's going to answer and submit. And he can see his classmates' answers, and so now we can see that everybody's answered them. On the teacher's end, I can go over here and see that there's 2 done. I click on this. I see who's done what. I can go and say, okay, Dylan, he got it wrong. I'm going to give him a 0 out of 100. I'm going to give Zach 100 out of 100 because he got them right. I can reply, wrong year. Click post. So this is it's not a quiz, it's not a good place to have like a test. I get that question a lot because I know Edmodo did have this test built in. Google Forms is best for that. But what it does do is that it does give them a place to, you can have formative assessments, and you can ask those really quick questions and let them reply. Maybe homework, you want them to read a passage and answer one question about that passage. This is a great way to have it. Homework, the thing about homework is that I used to have kids all the time that would do it and then forget to turn them in, or forget to bring their book home, things like that. With this, it's always going to be with them. So that would be the question part of it. We can still go back and look at my question. I can add a class comment if I wanted everybody, don't forget to check the year. and so I can put that comment and everybody can see it. And then I can push this little back button and go back here and see it. You can see the comment. Kids can comment if they wanted to. And that would be your question part. To create an assignment, this is where I think Google Classroom ups the competition. It's much better in things like, this is more like, this is where I think it beats Edmodo and things like that. I can put on here assignment 26. I have no idea where I came up with 26, but I did. I can make it due tomorrow. I can give my instructions here. I can attach a Google Doc. Now, this is where it becomes awesome. Webinar Classroom. Now, right now, students can view the file. That's all they can do. They can look at it. So if I sent this and maybe it was an instructions sheet or it was my class syllabus, that would be fantastic. They can view it. They can make a copy if they want to, but it's not going to be shared with you. But I can change it. I can do students can edit file. Now you have 156 kids all editing one document, or you can make a copy for each student. And what this will do is that every student in my class will have Webinar Classroom PD dash their name, and it will be shared with me. So I can check up on them, see how far they've done, see what they have gotten done so far, make sure that they're just not copying and pasting things in. And I can just kind of check in on them, make sure they're not waiting until the last minute. And then I click Assign. All right, and so right now it's assigned. I see that no kids are done. And so I'm going to open up old Zach here. I think that's who this is. It's one of them. And he has an assignment 26. And so he's going to open that assignment. And when he does, he has all this. He can add more attachments if he needs to. He can create a new Google Doc, but I already have a doc created for him. And this is just an empty document because I wanted to have a copy for every student. So I can click on this, and it opens up his document. No, but thank you. And so now he has a document, and he can write about whatever I need him to write about. Okay, so he put hello everyone, and he has opened his. I'm going to go over here to Dylan and get Dylan to open his, because now if you notice when I open this up, that's not where I want to go. Click the wrong one. I can open this up. I can see that they're not done, but over here in my Google Drive, something cool has happened. Google Drive has created a classroom folder, and it takes that classroom folder, and every class that I have created, I know I have a lot, every class I have created, it creates a folder for that. And then every assignment I have, it creates a folder for that. So there's an assignment 26, and as you can see, I can see each of my kids' work. I thought it used to be that you had to open it, and he has not opened his, so I'm surprised that it now does that. So they change this stuff all the time on me, just to make me look silly. But now Dylan's is open, and I can go in and I can see how far they've gone. I can go in and say, okay, how much work has Dylan done? He's done nothing. Okay, I can go in and see Zach's. All right, Zach's done some work. If I need to comment on his, I can go over here and I can make a comment. Great job. A great start. And comment it, and so if I open Zach back up down here, he can see that I've made a comment on it, that I'm looking at his assignment. And I can go in, and as he goes, say he forgets to turn it in, and it's due, I can go at least have something to grade because I have access to it. When Zach's finished with this, he can see this little button right here. It says turn in. Do you see mine doesn't have that? And he can actually turn in his assignment. So it takes him to Google Classroom. It makes sure that you want to, yes, turn this in for me. And he has now submitted it. If he wants to go back and do some work on it, he can unsubmit it. So, oh, I got to go back and do work. Let's go back and change everything. Let's turn it. Now we're going to turn it back in. And his assignment's turned in. On my end, I see now that one's done and one's not done. I want to see all my done kids. There's Zach. Dylan, he hasn't turned anything in yet. Also notice this, that when Zach has turned it in, I'm going to reload his page. And it's only in view only. Once the student turns it in, he cannot go in here and do anything. If he wants to type, nothing happens because it has turned it off. That way I can grade it without him going back and fixing things. That way I can't give him a rubric that says you did nothing. It only has 1 sentence on here, and then he can go and put 100 sentences on here and try to trick everybody. So we know that that can't happen. So as soon as he turns it in, it's now mine. If you notice over here, the owner, once it turns in, is now me. Before it was turned in, it was Dylan, and it was Zach. But once he turned it in, it's now I'm the owner of it. I can go in there. Now, once we're finished, at the end of the year, I can return all of it back to them. Because they're really building a huge portfolio here with all their work throughout the year is in this one folder. And Google Classroom, it tells me done, not done. Let's say Zach did his, turned it in, and you know he has an IEP or a Tier 2 form that says he can get a second chance. I can return it as well, and I can even put a comment in here that's private. Try more than 1 sentence, and I can return it to him. And it's returned. Once again, if I look in here, I'll reload this page. And Zach is now the owner again until he turns it in. Then we can go back. If I reload his page, he now has editing rights. He can go back and says, okay, I'll put 2 sentences. And turn it in. Once again, we've gone through all of it and turned it in, and it's in there. So he can turn in, you can turn it in, and you can send it back to him, back and forth, however many times you need to. And it is also in his drive. It is in your drive, and you can keep up with it that way as well. I love the idea that it's going to take it and make a folder for everything that I have. Another thing it's doing is, as it's doing this, every one of these assignments is also going into my Google Calendar. So if I pull up Google and I click Calendar, there's that assignment. Okay, so it's on my calendar, so I know it. And I can go in, I can add some more stuff, like if I need to add an attachment, those type things, I can do that. But if I look over here at Zach's calendar, it has automatically put it in his calendar. So he didn't have to write it down in an agenda. He didn't have to do all that. It's in his calendar. And if he wanted to share that calendar with his mom, I think you would have to do that, but you could share that calendar with the parents. Anybody that you need to, you can share that calendar. And it will sync to his phone. So if I had his phone open up here, I don't have a tablet that's a little bit bigger so you can see it. And did you notice? I'm gonna switch to where you can see my screen. You can see me. Okay, so like if you see this, well, this like, there you go. See how I've got it in his calendar. So if he had a phone, he could sync that. If he has a tablet, he just has to sign into his Google account, and it's there. And as you can see, if I click on this assignment, it's going to give me that link to Google Classroom. Same with if let's go back to my screen. So same if I go over here and he clicks this assignment, he can click on this Classroom link, and there it is. If he had the Classroom app on his phone, it would link straight to his phone. He can open it in that tab. So that's kind of the calendar thing. I love the calendar idea. I love that it's there for the kids. You can have a pop-up one day before, and he can save that. He can go into this calendar and say that he wants to edit notifications, add notification, a pop-up. He can add an email before each event, add a notification, and then he can put both of those in there, and he can save them. And it has subscriptions successfully. That pop-up will show up on his phone. Somehow I unhighlighted it, but it will show up on his phone. It will show up wherever it needs to go. And he can also have his own calendar as you see, he's got his own, and it's not even touching yours. If you had it on here, I can have my own. I have this, and it's not showing up in his. So it's like a separate calendar just for them. So that's the calendar stuff. Y'all have any questions? Am I going too fast? There's just a lot of it in a little bit of time. I'm trying to go back to my assignments in my class. Other things that are out there. There are extensions. You know me, I'm a big believer and lover of extensions, and there are some extensions that are available. To get extensions, you can, if you're logged, you have to log into Chrome. If you notice, it says my name down here. Zach, it has his name as he's logged into Chrome. Once you're logged into Chrome, you will have a box over here that says Apps. If you're in a Chromebook, it's going to be down here in the search box. Is where your apps are going to show up. If I click Apps, there's going to be a thing called the Web Store. So if I click on that, it'll take me to my Chrome Web Store. You can also go to, you can just click in chrome.google.com/webstore. It will take you to the web store too. And you want to go extensions, and then you want to look for, both of them will show up. Both of them I'm going to show you will show up here. I can do Classroom, and those extensions will show up. And so the two that we were looking for, there is one that's called Add to Classroom. You don't want that one. You want Share to Classroom. That one's made by Google, and it's the one that's I'm going to show you. There's also one that says Classroom Split. I'm going to show you that one too. Alice Keeler, I think I showed, that was whose picture that was I showed earlier. Like I said, she's got a lot of good ideas, but she has made this this split that you can use. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let's see if I go to al.com. This is what you can do with this Share to Classroom. All right, so let's say that I want to use, great, that would show up. Tornado devastated Pensacola. So let's say that I want my kids to have this. Let's say that I want them to have an assignment with this link. I can click here. I promise I clicked it. I don't know why I go to al.com. It's always the slowest website. And I have this class. It'll show me all my classes. This is what it'll look like. I find webinar. And I can push this to students, or I can create an assignment, make an announcement. I can make an announcement and put in there and say, did you see this? If we were saying, that would be perfect if we were saying about tornadoes. And I can click Post, and it has posted to my class. So if I come back over here, reload this page, and voila, there's my link. It will also do this. I can make an assignment, but I can push to students. So let's say that we have the Chromebook cart, and every kid in my class is on a Chromebook, and we're all working, and I find something as they're working, or somebody in our class, somebody else in the class has a link. I say, hey, you know what, send me that link real quick. I can actually push this out to students. So I could put push to students, and there's my link, and I click push. And then over here, you see how this has popped up, and old Zach now has that link. So if we're all in the classroom and we're all working on Chromebooks, or we're all on the computers and they've logged into Chrome, I can actually, and they have this Chrome app, I can actually push that to students, and it will just pop up, which to me is fantastic, because now we can all get back to the same page. And you can do that with the Google Doc. If I was on this, in this document right here, if I was on Dylan's document, his was perfect. Well, he would have to have the share settings, but if the share settings were anybody with the link, we could push this out to students. Oh, it is, the whole class can see it. Well, nope, it's just the teacher of that class. But if I said anyone with the link can view, and I love Dylan's work, and it was fantastic, and I want everybody to see that example, I could go and push this out to my students. And I can say students can view file. And so Zach over here will now be able to, oh, I just closed it. Did you see that? What did I do recently? Close. It's none of that. Man, it didn't even show up. Let's see, push it to students again. Ugh, I closed it too fast, but it would have popped up, I promise. Here we go. push. And now Zach will see Dylan's work. So it's fantastic. Saves a lot of time. Saves if you're doing a if everybody has a Chromebook on their desk and you're doing a exit ticket that's a form, you can push it out to all your kids and they can all do that. If you have a quiz that's on the Google form, if you have something like that, you can push those out to everybody. I'm about to show you the Alice Keeler one. So that one was shared a classroom. This is this one right here, shared a classroom. The Alice Keeler one is cool. I'm going to go in as a student. So let's say that I am over here, back to my assignment, Zach, and I click that one, and it will pop up 2 screens. So I can go over here and say, what was this one about? It was assignment, not all classes, just the webinar class. Done, because I'm done with it, but if I wasn't, I can go in here and I can see all of my information. So like if my teacher had tons of information listed here, or if I had a doc that I could get my information from, I can have that on this one page and I can actually type on this page, which is really cool because you can see both of them back and forth. All right, so any questions? I know whenever we had a couple of people, everybody joined late. I think like all but like 1 or 2 joined late, so we kind of had a late start. So, any questions? All right. Well, this will be on the YouTube page. I'll go and edit all the hums that I had in there from the beginning when we were waiting on everybody to join. And I'm always just an email away. Have a good afternoon, guys.